This is Victor Uniform 2 Sierra Papa Foxtrot. We are going to talk about Nano VNA today. We will see some applications like antenna tuning and filter characterization, and also learn about how to connect it to a PC and a mobile phone. So let us explore Nano VNA. So let us see what this Nano VNA is. It's a handy device. As you can see, it fits in the palm. Normally, when we are measuring in the shack or in the lab, what we are doing is trying to understand the characteristic of device with frequency. So, for example, antenna or amplifier or filter. So, we take frequency response where we vary the frequency of the source and then measure the response of the device by using some detector. But once in a while, we also need to understand the phase behavior of the device. And so we will see what is the difference between these. When we only take the measurement of amplitude with frequency, we call it scalar device. When both frequency versus amplitude and phase information is collected, then we call it a vector device. So a vector measure is basically measuring the frequency dependence on the device characteristic, and how the amplitude varies, how the phase varies. So this is a typical example of a scalar analyzer where we have got a frequency on this x-axis and say VSWR on the y-axis. So you see how the VSWR varies with the frequency. A spectrum analyzer with a tracking generator also gives us almost the same information, where the frequency is varied and the output amplitude is studied. On the other hand, vector analyzers give you both the amplitude and the phase with frequency. So they give you information, more detailed information about the signal, because phase contains the great information on the behavior of that particular device, and it also has facility to understand or study the reflected signals. So working of VNA can be understood from this very simple block diagram. The VNA normally has a port called port 1, where the signal generator is connected. It goes to the device which we are trying to understand. We are trying to see how it behaves, and the output of that device goes to another port of VNA called port 2. Sometimes these ports are also known as channel 0 and channel 1, like in our Nano VNA. And the designation is very simple. The signal which is coming from port 1 and going to port 2, it's called S21 signal, and the signal which is coming back from the device, that is the reflected signal, is called S11. So from port 1 to port 1. So this is a simple arrangement in which we can measure the frequency response of this device along with the phase information. If you don't need the transmission characteristics, you only require the reflection characteristic, then we just need to connect only one output of the VNA to the input of your device, and there is nothing on the other side to the VNA. So this is the thing which we will be using for understanding the behavior of our say antenna. What is there inside the VNA? There is a signal generator which has variable frequency. It goes to a detector or receiver block directly, and part of the signal also goes through this splitter to your device which is under test, which we want to characterize. And on the way, there may be a directional coupler to measure the reflected signal. So now you see what happens is, this becomes your reference point, and with reference to this signal, the reflected or forward signals are measured in phase. So amplitudes can be measured directly, but phases require some kind of reference. So this becomes the reference. So how much phase change has occurred, that we can measure directly. And there is a processor with display which gives you a variety of displays, about which we will see in a minute. Something about the reflection coefficient and why we need to measure this reflected. The reflection coefficient gamma is actually a ratio of reflected voltage divided by the incident voltage sorry, and which are actually also representable like this. The impedance of the load and impedance of the transmission line that also is responsible for this reflection coefficient. So indirectly this reflection coefficient is connected with the impedances of the transmission line as well as the impedance of the load. And this can be also written as return loss, which is nothing but logarithmic value of the reflection coefficient. This is rho means just the absolute value of your reflection coefficient gamma. And other thing which we normally use is the VSWR as a characteristic, which is again dependent on gamma. And as you know now, the gamma is dependent on the impedances. So this actually represents indirectly the impedances of the devices. Most of the VNAs provide you variety of displays. For example, there could be a frequency response like with a VSWR display, or there could be a Smith chart showing you the complex impedances. So there may be linear magnitudes, logarithmic magnitudes, SWR, Smith chart or polar plot to show the complex nature, and there may be delays and phases and other things. So a variety of things are possible with a VNA, and they give you all kinds of information regarding the device. So we come to now our main thing, what is nano VNA? I understand it's a technological and intellectual marvel, because in such a small size, lot of technology is filled in, and somebody has really used the information which was already available. VNAs were implemented in larger cabinets and larger sizes, and this was wonderful to have a smaller VNA. Of course, it's a progression of technology and intellect all going together that has come into this form. It normally works from 50 kilohertz to 300 megahertz, but with extension of software, you can load new software or newer version. You can go up to 900 megahertz or 1500 megahertz, but at these ranges, the accuracy is slightly less. There are several people who have done reports on how accurate is this nano VNA, because that comes as a question. It's a small thing, how good it is. So even including one of the Indian hams who has reported comparison with standard commercial VNAs, it was found that this is as accurate as the standard commercial VNAs. The cost is between 3,000 to 4,000 now, but if you compare it with the commercial VNAs, they'll cost in several lakhs. I think I have not seen anything less than 10 lakhs on commercial side, and go up to 1 crore also. It's very small, easy to operate, very easy to handle. You can carry it in pocket and do the job right at the site. It has its own battery, so you can you don't require external source of power for this. It has 2.8 inch TFT with a touch screen, which is for input, and there is a jog pedal which is actually a multi use switch, which can be rotated on left and right, and there is a switch also. It has got fully Mumino driven interface, so very easy to handle. You just have to touch and get things done. It can display 4 traces simultaneously. There are 2 ports. One is bidirectional port, which is called channel 0, so it can even get back the reflected signal, and the other one which is unidirectional, which can only receive the signal, which is called channel 1. It uses small SMA connectors right on board, so soldered to the PCB. Supplied with calibration standards which are necessary to begin the measurements in VNA, and some cables etc. are provided. Let's see what it comes with, and of course it is provided with USB connectivity, so things become very easy to handle sometime. It looks something like this. You have got USB connector here on top, LED indicating battery status, power switch. There is a system LED multifunction switch or the jog switch, which I said. There are 2 SMA connectors on the side for connecting the channel 0 and channel 1, and as you can see, this signal goes back. It is written as S11, this one straight one is called S21. It is marked here for our convenience, and as you can see, different color are used for different traces. There is more detailed information about the display. All the 4 traces are shown here. So the first trace is this yellow one, channel 0, which is on top. It shows you what is the log magnitude. It is actually displaying the logarithmic magnitude. That is the format of the channel. The second channel 0 and Smith chart is this green one, which is actually here. You can see only a small portion of the display is covering, and that shows you channel 0, and it shows you something about at that point this 130 ohm and 10 picohenry at this point number 1. Channel 1 is in blue, which is below here, and it shows you logarithmic nature of channel 1, and this is the 10 dB per division is the display scaling, and at this point where it is showing as number 1 marker, it is 83.71 dB. Similarly, this purple one is channel 1 information. It is showing phase, which is actually 90 degree per division here, and at this point where the purple marker is there, number 1 marker is there, it is it's a minus 60.32 degree phase, and this marker 1, this is all are marker 1s, 1 is written there, it is at 90.780 megahertz. On bottom side you see the start frequency is 1 megahertz, stop frequency is 300 megahertz, and some information about the calibration etc. Status of calibration is shown here. So we will learn more about that later. So what is calibration? Before we begin any measurement, before we begin any data taking, we have to calibrate the VNA, and the calibration means taking care of all the components in the path. So if you have got a variety of connectors and cables connected, so it will take care of everything coming into this VNA. It uses the standard open, short and load method. Load is a 50 ohm thing, and which are supplied by this along with the nano VNA. It's a very simple process. It can be done in few minutes, and it should always be done in the beginning at least once. And then once you have done the calibration, we can check the calibration with 50 ohm load and seeing its SWR or Smith chart, etc. So this is the picture of nano VNA along with the supplied things. So there are 3 standards, these 3 open, short and load standard. There is a barrel connector for SMA. There are 2 SMA to SMA connect cables, small cables. This is nano VNA itself, and this is the USB cable. What more is required for using in our labs or in our shack are these kind of converters, SMA to PL or SO239 connectors, maybe a OTG cable for connecting to mobile phone, and sometimes we require this kind of a stylus for handling the touch screen. Let us calibrate nano VNA and see how it has to be done. So first thing we have to do is we have to set the frequency range, and for that you touch anywhere on the screen, a menu appears. On that menu there is a stimulus button. The first menu has got a stimulus button which actually sets the frequency range for stimulus, and when you do that it comes to this menu where there is something like start, stop, span, etc., etc. So let us set the starting frequency. So when you touch here on the start button, this kind of a keypad appears, which is used for entering the numbers and frequency. So you can see there are numbers 0 to 9, plus there is a giga hertz if you want to go, then G is there, M for megahertz, K for kilohertz, and X1 for the direct frequency entry. This back arrow is for correction. There is a decimal point also. So let us say we want to enter 3 megahertz as the starting frequency. So first we touch 3, it will appear here 3, and then we touch M. So when you press this 3 and M, it becomes 3 megahertz as the starting frequency. Same way for stopping frequency, first you touch on the stop button here, then you press 300, so it appears on the bottom 300. and then press M. So 300 megahertz becomes your stopping frequency. So what it means is we have set the limit to scan between 3 to 300 megahertz. Again, when we want to do the calibration further, we have to go ahead with the calibration. There is a cal button in the main menu. So when you touch that button and then you say calibrate, it comes to this menu where it shows load, open, short, load, etc., etc. So what we need to do is now on this channel 0, we have to connect the open standard. That small SMA connector without center pin is open. So that we have to connect here and then touch the open button. The moment you touch here, it will collect data for the open standard and store it in memory. Now what you do is remove the open and then put this short. Short standard has got a center pin here, you can see, which is shorted to the external shell of the connector. Put it here and then touch the short button. So moment you touch short button, it will take the data and store it in memory. Now you remove the short and connect the load standard here, and after that you press this load button again, and that's all. It will take all the data for load standard and store it. There are two buttons called isolation and through. We are not touching them now. Straight away we will go to done. So you do this done button. When you touch done button, it comes to saving memory in memory location. It shows you save 0, save 1, save 2, etc. So we will save our calibration in save 0. That is the memory which is called save 0. So we can have multiple calibrations which can be recalled afterwards and used. So we can save it in save 0. So what will happen is, after we save it, our VNA will be calibrated between 3 to 30 megahertz. And when you have this 50 ohm connected, you can also see the SWR. Select the SWR as the display, and you will see here that it shows you 1.00. It means your SWR is 1:1.00. So perfect match for 50 ohms, because 50 ohm is already connected at the channel 0. So it means it is good calibration. And if you look at the Smith chart, it is there is a small blue dot right at the center of this chart, which is at 50 ohm. So that also it says that your calibration is perfect. So it means now we are ready to measure between 3 to 300 megahertz. So how do you measure? How do you proceed further? What we need to do is, first you have to collect, you have to select the traces. So between 1 to 4 traces we can select any number. I normally prefer 1 trace. It's very easy to handle. Maybe 2 traces are good enough. Select the format of display. So we will select, let us say, SWR. You can have log magnitude or whatever you want to do. Then select the frequency range of interest by using that same method which we have done earlier, say 6 to 8 megahertz or whatever it is. We will just take some example. Ideally we should calibrate in this frequency range, but if you have already done the calibration in the earlier stage, then you don't need it. That's called general calibration. It should work. Now you connect the device which we want to study, and directly you will see the output or the curve showing you the behavior of that device. Okay, so you can change the marker, you can drag the marker from one side to other side, marker can be dragged, and then you can read the parameters on top of that thing. Let's take an example of antenna tuning, which is what most of us will be using this VNA for. Let us say my 20 meter 12 band antenna is to be tuned. So what do I know about this antenna? So first I'll measure the characteristic of antenna, and from the minimum we can decide whether we want to extend the antenna or we want to shorten it, and we can move the minima. And for that we connect the antenna using this converter. You can see here, this is my antenna connector. This is the converter SO239 to SMA, and using this cable we have connected it to the channel 0. So when it is in the frequency range 3 to 300 megahertz, all kinds of things are shown. My antenna is behaving this way between 3 to 300 megahertz. So what we will do is we will select the frequency of our interest. So what I have shown here is that I have selected the frequency from 5 to 15 megahertz. Oh, fantastic. So you see one dip here in SWR right at around 7 megahertz and another dip around 14 megahertz. It means this antenna is having perfect tuning at 7 and 14 megahertz. This is good enough to tell us that the antenna is well designed and working quite well. But we can see in more detail. Actually, we can expand this curve by selecting the frequency range of interest in narrower range. So let us try it. If I select 6.5 to 8.5 megahertz, I get the nice curve which we have seen in books that SWR actually reduces with frequency, comes to minimum, and then again increases with frequency. So if we can find out the minima here, we know whether it is tuned to our frequency of interest or not. If it is not, then we can either cut it or you can extend it according to the standard procedure. And still expanding this range to 7 to 7.2 megahertz, that's our band of interest. You see the whole curve is very, very flat. So my antenna is tuned very well in 7 to 7.2 megahertz range. Let us take another example of filter response if we want to study the response of filter. So we connect the filter between channel 0 and channel 1, select the appropriate frequency range, type of display, and then you can directly see the response of the filter on screen. So this is one example where there is a filter which was created for some purpose. It was lying around, so I have connected it using these SMA to flying lead connectors, and immediately you start seeing the behavior of the filter. So this is the behavior of filter which was shown for this particular filter. So you can actually study the behavior of filter and then modify, change things and get as per your requirements. Okay, so we have got a small device which is very portable and can work, can give you a lot of information immediately as soon as you connect it. So we have seen the basics for that. Now we will talk about how do you control it externally or how do you connect your Nano VNA to devices like PC or to a mobile phone. So there are two programs called VNA Saver for PC, Nano VNA Saver which works on PC, and one called Nano VNA Web USB Client for Android phones. Actually there are many more for PC, but this is the one which I like, so I have selected that for today's demonstration. Why we should connect it? One reason is that it gives you large display with all kinds of controls. You can save the data and charts also, graphs can be saved, and you have a USB connection, so it's very easy to connect. This is a very typical example of a Nano VNA Saver program. As you can see, this is a filter, this is the transmission characteristic. You can see this is a filter working around 7 megahertz. It was designed for one of the bit access, but it's not a good filter. So maybe it was lying there, so I just used it for demo purpose. But you can see the dip and other things in the filter, and you can modify the filter characteristic by changing capacitances or inductances and study what happens. It's a very good tool for understanding. What else is displayed on this side is the sweep frequency, minimum 1 megahertz, maximum 10 megahertz. So it shows you what is the center frequency, span, etc. You can actually run the sweep by after changing it. You can run the sweep, so it will show you exactly how things are. It shows you marker positions. These colored markers are there. Their frequencies are shown here. It has got facility to save it, so you can go to file section and save the data. You can actually change the display here, setup. Right now only 2 graphs are there. You can have 3 graphs on top and 3 curves on the bottom. So you can have a total of 6 different curves shown on this display. It shows you a lot of things about the marker, what is the value of at what frequency, what is the impedance, series inductance, series capacitance, and parallel R and parallel X. All those things are shown here, VSWR, return loss, all those informations are given here for those marker positions. So it's a fantastic thing. You can do some simple analysis by the program, but anyway it's not very good, so I am not recommending it. One more thing which is possible here is the time domain reflectometry, by which you can find the length of any cable which is unterminated or open at the other end, and it gives you quite precision measurement of the length of cable. These are two of the curves taken from that particular program for inverted V, 40 meter SWR and 20 meter SWR. You can see how easy it is and simple it is to understand the behavior of your antenna. And the same thing, complex behavior of your antenna. So you get the Smith chart here, which shows you the complex impedances here at different frequencies. So the inductive part, this is the capacitive part, again for 20 meter inductive part and capacitive part, so that when you are tuning it, say with a antenna tuner, you can actually understand where you need to connect a capacitor in series or where you need to connect a inductor in series to get back to the 50 ohm or near 50 ohm impedance. This is again very interesting thing. I ran the scan from 3 to 30 megahertz complete spectrum, and the antenna responded by giving me one peak rather dip here around 7 megahertz, one dip here around 14 megahertz, and the third dip here around 21 megahertz. That is the third harmonic of this 7 megahertz antenna. So you can see the complete behavior of antenna in one go, and this is something which is fantastic, which was not possible earlier with cheap instruments. Even if we had some simpler things, you had to do manually and take a lot of readings and then plot them and do all kinds of things with that. Now it is easy, just change few parameters and instantly you can see the behavior of your antenna. Let us talk about the other program, which is called the Web Client, which is available for Android phone from the Google Play Store. You can download it and connect your VNA using a OTG cable, and it gives you complete control of your VNA. It can also save data on the mobile phone, which you can later on retrieve and use it for something. Very handy when you are working on in open space or terrace or somewhere near the antenna, because you can see in sunlight also you can see the mobile display, whereas you cannot see the display of nano VNA in slight bright light. It's not that bright. This shows you the connection, USB port connecting to the nano VNA. The filter is some test circuit is connected between the two things, and you can immediately see the low pass filter characteristic here and here. Same thing is reflected here, and a lot of things can be programmed from the setup here. This is a closer view of that. You can see there are two curves here. This one is for the channel 1, which is the transmission characteristic, and this is for channel 0, which is the reflection characteristic of that same circuit. So it is showing you transmission as well as reflection properties with different frequencies. Okay, I did one more experiment. I connected the Voxon Andes rubber ducky antenna in the SWR mode. So it shows, and of course the range was 100 to 500 megahertz. I had to do it. So it shows a dip here in the SWR around 145 megahertz, and another dip here around 432 megahertz. It means this is an antenna which is tuned for both VHF and UHF frequencies. So now we come to the end of this talk with some few cautions. SMA connectors are not very strong, they are very fragile. Take care, we have to handle them very, very carefully, especially when you are connecting the antenna cable, which can actually put a lot of load and stress on the connectors. We should not directly connect it, use this small cable which is provided along with this VNA. And because the quality of connectors is not supposed to be very high due to the cost limitations, so when you are attaching or removing the connections, be very careful, do it very, very smoothly and nicely with less power applied to that. Don't force it at all. Okay, so finally, where to get all the information? More information for curious and those who want to use it. nanovna.com is a site which has got a lot of information and links to everything which is available for nanovna. Groups.io has a group for nanovna users which has got a wiki, and there is a lot of information with some manuals, operating manuals, and all kinds of things hidden there. So you can go to this, you can become a member of this nanovna users group on groups.io and get all the information. nanovna.com has got links to this also. This is the link for your web app. on Google Play Store. There is the link for GitHub for the Nano VNA saver. But all these things are available directly from nanovna.com. So this is one single link which will be useful to us. So I hope you have enjoyed doing this. Thank you very much for taking interest in Nano VNA. This was very basic information. A lot of things can be done with this fantastic tool. If you have any question, you want to talk to me, any possible help I can give you, whatever I can give, please send me a mail on v2spf Victor Uniform 2 Sierra Papa Foxtrot @gmail.com, and my WhatsApp number is 948 4488 001. So you can send me a mail or WhatsApp, and I will be definitely very happy to inform to help you whatever I can do. Thank you very much, and I should thank the Pune Ham group also for giving me this opportunity to interact with you. Thank you, and see you later sometime.